Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. First of all, I want to start our Toastmaster meeting with a loud applause. Please, can I hear a loud round of applause from you? Thank you. Please switch off your mobile phones or keep them in silent mode. As Toastmasters, we do not discuss about sex, religion, and politics. The main motto and purpose of this club meeting is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And over to our club president, Catherine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shukru, Toastmasters and guests. Good evening, good morning, and wherever you're coming from, we welcome you to Toastmasters for Professionals. It is my honor to welcome each and every one of you. So thank you, dear guests, for coming to give us your valuable time as Toastmasters this morning and this evening. I would like to thank you for taking the opportunity to trust Toastmasters for Professionals to take you on a leadership journey once again. This evening, you have a run for your time and money with our Toastmaster of the day, Shihas. Before Toastmaster Shihas takes to the podium, I would like to thank each and every one of our members who have renewed their membership with our club. Thank you once again for heeding to the call to take advantage of the discount at $45 to renew. I would like to encourage those who have not renewed with us to please take advantage of this time and still renew when we have another opportunity to do that at $60 for this coming period. Please renew and let's be growing together as Toastmasters for Professionals. So you are welcome. I hope all of you feel at peace, feel with love at Toastmasters for Professionals. I would like to now take this moment, without further ado, to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Shihas. Will you kindly, Toastmasters and guests, give a warm welcome and applause to Toastmaster Shihas as he takes us away for this meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Catherine, our distinguished president, who is trying her level best to take our clubs to new heights. I believe you all can hear me and see me. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I welcome you all to our meet today. I will be your Toastmaster of the day. But before I take over the Toastmaster of the day role, I'm also the VP membership for this particular club. So if you guys, if there are guests who are joining us for the very first time, please drop in your contact information in the chat and I will connect with you after this meet, and we will get you also added to our various guest links or social media panels so that you can connect with us in the future too. So now let's get started. So our club basically here is blessed with members from various walks of life. We have doctors, we have various IT professionals who work across various roles. Okay, so we have IT professionals who are working across various roles, and each of us, right, we all have a work and we have life, right, our personal life. We all need to create a balance between them. But before I go over and talk more on that, as I said, like we are having multiple professional people here. I would just like to hear from each of you guys to come forward and share like what is work-life balance for you. Because if I'm working as a business analyst in my company, for me, it has a different definition. And if I go and talk to a doctor, probably they may have a different definition for that. So with that, I would just like to hear from few of our members and guests today to see what their work-life balance is. Okay, so I'll just share my screen for a bit so that we will just document also what is going. Yeah. So can I have some volunteers who can come up and share like what is their definition of work-life balance before I go ahead and proceed?
Yeah, so I will volunteer. Maybe
Thank you,
I don't know
Mohan.
how to see it properly. Yeah, work-life balance, we can't do it every day. Sometimes we have too much of work and sometimes we have free time. So if you try to do it every day, we may think that we are not able to do it and we get into that negative cycle that, hey, we are not able to do it. So I think this is something we need to balance over a period of a month or a period of like 2-3 months. So we need to adjust it over a period of like 1 month or 2 months, not just every day. We can't balance it every day.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And you work as as an IT professional, right?
Yes, I'm into IT management.
Okay. Okay. So can I have some other one, some other
Yeah,
volunteer?
I would like to share my ideas. I
Yes,
am a
sure.
lecturer. So to maintain work-life balance, what I do, I just go to office exactly at 8 o'clock. I come for lunch at exactly at 12 and go back 1 and come home at 5. I don't take my office work home or I don't take my home things to office. I'm trying to trying to utilize my time, office time maximum. And then at home, I'm fully free. I don't remember what I am at home. I'm a mother and I'm a housewife.
I got this. Perfect. So I thank you, Sumanti, for sharing that. And I also see that Karthik has also raised his hand. So Karthik, what is that you have to share?
Hello, Toastmasters. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I'm a digital marketer. Actually, I'm new to this profession of work and life balance. Where I'm in a starting stage. I feel like when we get enough experience to do what to do, to know what to do, to know what not to do, there we can just give ourselves a best time to balance work and professional personal life. It's just identifying the things what to say no and what to say yes. That because lot of things, lot of decisions will happen hundreds of times in our mind. So that will take a good time rather than where we are implementing into reality. So I feel like this is one of the best way to get some time to spend on your things. By getting time, we can balance our work and personal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohan, Sumanti, and Karthik for sharing your insight. So we just noticed that it is different for different people who are coming from different walks of life. Okay, so we cannot blindly come back and say that that for me like I will just take an example for Mohan. Like for me, Mohan probably he's having teams across various geographies, so he cannot say that at 6 o'clock I'm done. Okay. But at the same time, Sumanti has an option that once she is off from work or once she's back at home, she does not have to worry about what is going on in college because everyone is their home and there is no dependency on that. So they said like we all are staying in a very connected world. Okay. And we have and you see that there are people from different geographies who are coming from different countries and staying in a different place. So we cannot basically say that okay, at 6 o'clock I'm done. I cannot go back and do my work because reason being that if I close my shop at 6 o'clock, there are people who are dependent on me to get their work done or to proceed with their work. So I would say that since we are living in a connected world, we definitely need to have boundaries, but at the same time, work life balance these days has turned into something that is known as work life integration. And it should look something like this. right? So we have career, we have friends, we have our personal well-being, and we also have home and work. So as long as we are able to create a harmony between all these phases of life, irrespective of whatever profession you are coming from, be it a student, be it a doctor, be it an IT or anything else, as long as this diagram, if we are able to maintain this diagram, I believe that we are going to have a happy or a fruitful life. Does anyone have any thoughts to share before I take it forward? Yeah. Okay. So we will talk about this our work-life concept a bit. Yes, Milan, please go ahead. Sorry, I did not see your hand raised earlier.
No, no, in fact, I raised it a little late, but I really like that Venn diagram. I remember doing in mathematics many years back. So I would request you to put it onto our WhatsApp group. It's a very nice diagram, and I hope you're going to deal a little more with that diagram in the coming time, in the next few minutes. Thank you, Shihas.
Thank you, Toastmaster man. So okay, so let's move on. So we will be talking about our work-life concept a bit more as we proceed, but we have a meeting to run. And when we have a meeting to run, there are a lot of people who basically help me or the Toastmaster of the day to run the show. There are few people who are there on the screen. You will be, and there is a lot of work that goes behind the scene that probably Mohan can relate more because he's our VP. That being said, I would like to introduce you guys to my tag team. Tag team is basically our timer, our counter, and grammarian. And Toastmasters has divided our various roles so that we can learn more from each of these roles and probably implement the learning from these roles in our real life. So, without further ado, I would like to invite our timer for the day, who is Toastmaster Mohan, to come forward to introduce himself and explain us more about his roles and responsibilities.
Hello everyone.
Toastmaster.
I'm Toastmaster Mohan. Today I'm playing the role of a timer. Let me show some cards. Can you see this? Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, this is green, red, and yellow. For the prepared speeches, today we have one prepared speech. After 5 minutes, I will show the green card. And then after 6 minutes, I will show the yellow card. And after 7 minutes, I will show the red card. There is a buffer period of around 30 seconds. This is for the prepared speeches. For table topics, after 1 minute, I will show the green card. After 1 minute, 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. After 2 minutes, I will show the red card. For evaluation, after 2 minutes, I will show the green card. After 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. And after 3 minutes, I will show the red card. And I will also precisely mention the time taken by the prepared speaker who is delivering the prepared speech, as well as the table topics speakers, as well as the evaluator at the end of the meeting. I will present my report. Yeah, thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster. You can pin me. I mean, yeah, you can pin me.
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Mohan. And I would definitely request the speakers to pin Toastmaster Mohan so that you can see his screen even when the screen fluctuates or during the course of your speech. Next, we have our counter for the day. Our counter is Toastmaster Vrinda. Vrinda, can you please come forward and share your roles and responsibilities and introduce yourself?
Thank you, Toastmaster Shihas. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Vrinda, and I am the counter for today. So during the meeting, I will listen to the crutch words such as and, well, but, so, and the popular, you know. I will also listen for filler sounds such as and I will note when a speaker repeats a phrase such as I, this means, and also note long or short pauses. I will give my report towards the end when called for. And with this, I hand over the floor back to Toastmaster Shihas. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vrinda. And next we have our grammarian. So, Catherine, I believe you would be coming forward to explain your roles and responsibility as a grammarian. We already heard you as a president. Now let's hear what a grammarian Catherine has to share. Over to you, Toastmaster Catherine.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shihas. Toastmasters and guests, our word of the day is anxious. Anxious sounds like the word anxious, worried, but this anxious is different. This anxious is almost a non-affirmative word, so it's like a negative word. But this is what it means: not expressing one's true feelings or pretending to display true feelings. And how is it used? Please refer to the chat. Her impression of the role was anxious and poorly done. Nikki's anxious balance of his work-life balance broke his career and family. He wasn't true to himself. I was turned down by my brother's anxious compliments. My brother wasn't saying the truth about how I was dressed, how I spoke, or what I looked like. These are examples of how you can use the word anxious. What I know for a fact is that you will certainly use the word of the day. So I'm going to ask each one of us to unmute right now and say the word anxious, and then wait for how it will be used in your speeches and evaluations. Everybody unmute and say anxious.
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 Thank you. Thank you so much. It's anxious. It sounds like the anxiety word, but it's not that. It's a different word. So please take note. On top of this, I look forward to great usage of the English language, beautiful grammatical expressions, and words that we will learn from each other today. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Catherine. So as a professional, we all are in a situation where your boss is putting you in certain situation where you have to get certain things done, and the timelines may not seem realistic. And that's where the work pressure comes in. We are at times we then take that tension back to our home, and as we are not able to spend time with our kids or family members, and that's where things start slowly going down the hill. With that being said, there are various ways or methods that we can incorporate in our personal life. The first one is being anxious, that is to speak up and make sure that concerns are heard with the right authorities. And also, I'll also share as we proceed with the meet, few tips or few things that I try and few things that I have learned in a couple of meetings that I have attended. And hopefully we can implement and have a better work-life balance. But before more on that as we proceed in our meet today. But first, we need to start off with the first section of our meet, that is the prepared speeches. We have one speaker today, very well-seasoned speaker, and if there are any guests who are joining us for the first time, I'm pretty sure they will be spellbound. We have Toastmaster Marie, who would be attending our level 2 P2, that is regarding your leadership style. I would now like to invite Toastmaster Susan, who would be evaluating Toastmasters Marie's speech to come forward and share the speech objectives, and then invite Toastmaster Marie for her speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Timad Shihas. Dee Marie will be speaking from the Effective Coaching Path. She is working on a level 2 project called Understanding Your Leadership Style. Her title is Understanding Your Leadership Style. The timing is 5 to 7 minutes. And please help me welcome Dee Marie King.
Dee Marie, I believe you pinned me, right? Timer.
5 to 7 minutes.
Fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guest, do you know your leadership style? Do you know how you come across to the people that have entrusted their leadership in your hands? I am trying to discover my leadership style. If I were to take a guess, I think that I am a democratic leader. I want to give everyone an opportunity to state how they feel about whatever it is that we are attempting to do. However, there are other leadership styles. In addition to democratic, there is charismatic, where the person just walks in and floors you with their personality, and you just are so awed by that individual, you automatically fall in line and do what they say. But the style that I'm working toward is coaching, because the path that I'm on at this point is effective coaching. So I want to learn all that I can to be an effective coach. Now, the dictionary tells us that leadership style relates to the behaviors and the methods that we use as we motivate others, as we attempt to manage others, and as we make our desires known. We come up with goals and objectives and expectations, and we expect for the people who are following us that we are leading to understand that. But how do we arrive at those goals and expectations? In a democratic leadership style, everyone has a seat at the table. Everybody's voice is heard. I see myself and consider myself to be a compassionate person. And I am very passionate about people. So my leadership style would be reflected in my passion for people and for humanity. I have the desire to make an impression, an impactful impression on the people that I lead. How would you see yourself as a leader? What impression would you want to make on the people that were following you? Dr. Martin Luther King, in his I Have a Dream speech, laid out clearly that we all have the opportunity to dream, to have expectations, and to have those dreams fulfilled. If and when you follow the direction of a dynamic leader, it makes it so much easier to accomplish those goals. Dynamic leadership must also understand that it is crucial to remember the work-life balance. I remember as a supervisor in my nursing career, the 1-minute manager was my small dictionary. In that 1-minute manager, it taught me how to build interpersonal relationships with everybody on my team. I remembered that Joe had a dog named Fluffy, that Cindy had a child and her name was Elizabeth. So when you can walk up to someone that is under your supervision and say, how's Fluffy doing? They look at you and go, wow, she remembered that. I must be important to her. Or when you can say to your employee, how's Elizabeth? Did she get that? Did she pass that test? You know, you had her practicing her mathematics. Did she make that? Those are the little things that you remember about your staff, about your team. And what that does is it endears them to you. Anytime you're in a crunch and you need someone to be a team player, if they feel that you are authentic and that you are sincere in how you feel about them, you don't have to worry. Your team is there. They want to see the passion. They want to see your concern for them. And they want to understand that you know what the clear goals are. And they want to understand that you have defined the expectations for everyone. You're going to get back with them on a periodic basis just to be sure that they are following suit in terms of what the goal is, the end goal. Have you had someone that would throw you out there and just say, go to work, go do it, let's get this done, and never come back to you? They never check back. They don't know if you reached that point that you had spelled out to them. They're just not sure. You need someone that can define the project, clearly state the expectations, and then you understand what the outcome should look like. So I ask you again, what is your leadership style? And sometimes leadership in and of itself can be very boring in terms of leadership. Really? Are you serious? Absolutely. Because there's an old saying that behind every successful man, there is a female that is helping him to get there. And in the leadership realm, behind every team, that is achieving their goals and doing phenomenal things, there is a dynamic leader that is at the helm saying, we can do this. We can arrive at our expectations. We can achieve the goals, and everyone will be the better for it. Once you decide what the goal is, if you allow everyone to have a stake in what is being done, I'm reminded of the time when I had the employees on my team to assist me in having the female patients at the psychiatric facility put on a fashion show. I wanted to accomplish several things, but the most important thing that I wanted to accomplish was to have the patients see them as professionals and not just caretakers. Once we got into the training portions and the technicians were able to stand up and do part of the presentations, I could see them come alive. They began to feel important. These were the people that would take the ladies and shower them in the mornings, do their hair, dress them for the day to get them ready. They were caretakers. But once they took on a leadership role themselves, it made all the difference. Needless to say, the project that we undertook turned out to be phenomenal. The staff benefited. I was so grateful for their help, and the patients began to see the staff. Those people that had stepped into the shower to help them get ready in the mornings, they saw them in a different way. So it depends on what your expectations are. It depends on what the plan is. There is greatness in all of us. And in order to find out what that greatness is, the expectations have to meet the goals and objectives that you've set. What kind of leader are you? What is your leadership style? Madam Timer?
Thank you, Toastmaster Marie, for taking us through the various leadership styles. And what I really liked about the coaching style that you mentioned is, if I can, what I would take back is prioritizing outcome over output. So if we define what is expected, right? So the people who are there under you can also grow accordingly. Thanks a lot for taking us through this journey. So let's move on. So as we were talking about our work-life balance or work-life integration, I was just saying that we will be having, I'll share a few tips. So one thing is basically to take a pause and think that what is that we really want to do. And this comes on with practice. So say for instance, if you are in a scenario where you really think that there are a lot going on and we are not able to actually accomplish even a single thing because there are multiple things in our plate, the best way is basically to take a time out. Stop whatever you're doing and just reassess. Probably if we can just figure out that these are the few things that I did not sign up and I really did not want to do this. It's better to push it off for our next day and then work on the things that are really the need of us. So this way, probably we will be able to finish few things at work and then come and concentrate in our home and have a better life integration or a better life balance. So this basically talks about two tips. So one was to take a time out and think what we are doing, and the next one is to prioritize, because these days, like wherever you go, so you may have 10 things to do, but we as a human being we are not supercomputers, right? So we cannot do everything in the one shot. Just take what are the first 3 things that you think that can accomplish for that day. You can finish it off. You will have a sense of feeling that yes, I did this, and tomorrow come back and fight another one. So as I said, priority and taking time to think what is really needed. So the next in line for our Toastmasters meet, or the next priority item for us, is to have our table topics. Table topics helps us the art of thinking on our feet. And for that, we have our visiting guest from a different Toastmasters. She's from New Zealand. And she is here to take us through this wonderful journey where we will try to learn the art of thinking on our feet. Without further ado, I would like to invite Toastmaster Sumanti. Toastmaster Sumanti, over to you.
Thank you, Shihas. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, it's a privilege for me to join you today as a table topics master. So I have 3 topics, so I will just call 3 people to join me. First one, I will invite Susan.
Yes.
Hi, Susan. Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Florida.
Yeah. So the topic for you is, what is your opinion about Florida as a city to live your life with your family?
Madam Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, the secret's out. Florida used to be the best place to retire, and then we filled up with so many folks, we're off the list. We're not top 1. It's now Iowa. However, I'm not leaving. I'm very happy where I am. I started living in New York, and I came south for a job opportunity. But when I saw the beaches just a mile or so from my house, I fell in love. But it's too hot to go to the beaches most of the time. It is a lovely place to have your family and friends around. And sadly, my family is living 1,200 miles away still in New York. But it's only a 2.5-hour plane flight, and they'll be coming down again at the end of this month. I can hardly wait. There's so much here in my area of Florida. I am on the East Coast. The town is called Melbourne, not Australia, but Florida, named for Melbourne, Australia, because our first postmaster, I say it right, postal office master, was actually from Melbourne, Australia. So that's how we got our name. When I first came to visit on business, I saw this location and said, "Send for my things. I'm not coming back home." It was February, there was an ice storm in New York, and I was doing backstrokes in the pool at the hotel. I decided then and there, I was not going back to any more frosty, freezy winters. It is where I can be summer all the time, although I'll admit it's a little hot right now, but we have air conditioning and a swimming pool and the beach not too far away. This is a lovely place, but we don't need a whole lot of extra people because it's getting crowded. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Susan. A great speech. So secondly, I will invite Kanika Gupta.
Yes.
So the topic that I have selected for you is, what are the things that humans need to survive on Mars?
Could you give me 5 to 10 minutes because it's a new topic for me?
Okay. Then I just give her 5 to 10 minutes, and I will invite the third person, and then I will ask Kanika to do it after the third person. So
Thanks a lot,
who
ma'am.
I should select now? Maybe Karthik Kadavala. Thank you very much for accepting it. So tell us about, what is your favorite TV show or movie?
Hello, Toastmasters. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. In my favorite show is the Shark Tanks. I love that show because it's a knowledgeable show, and with there we can understand how people are pitching their ideas to the world. There we can also get more information about how the world economy is running, how the business, how the 1% people who are more wealthiest people give their take ideas and start implementing them. We can, because in reality people, so many people has a good ideas, but they are very less in the financial growth. So this startup of Shark Tank really helping people to engage to get their ideas out and get them into implementation. So I suggest all of you to watch this Shark Tanks because it's a very good show to get an opportunity to know how the world how the ideas are pitching to the world. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Hi. Thank you, Karthik. So I think now Kanika may be ready to give her speech.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Toastmasters, for giving me this opportunity. And I stand before you to discuss the basic necessities for people living on Mars. And this topic has captivated my imagination because it's like we must, according to me, we must acknowledge the various challenges that come with inhabiting on a very entirely different planet, so-called Mars. And first and foremost, shelter, which will be the permanent necessity over there. Um, the structures, the structures over there, they must be capable of shielding because against radiations and the optimum temperature and withstanding the extreme weather conditions such as frost, dust, storms, etc. Secondly, the food, which is the vital need of a human being. Um, one more thing, water, which is a very difficult, like it's a challenge for people living on the Mars. So I conclude that um, a robust life support is necessary and such like food necessities, shelter, water for the sustenance of we people over Mars. Thanks a lot to Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Kanika. Then I will hand over the meeting to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumanti, for taking us through these topics.
We have time. We can actually handle some more topics. We have 10 more minutes. I think, yeah, it's up to you.
Yes, Toastmaster. So if Sumanti, if you have any additional topics, we can carry on. Otherwise, we can. I'll just take
one more then.
Sure, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you want to repeat the questions, pick up different people, that is also fine.
Okay, then I will select the Milind Patwardhan. Yeah. And yeah, the topic is tell us about your childhood.
Thank you. Thank you, Table Topic Master, for a very interesting topic. You suddenly took me back by how many years, do you know? You would not know because you do not know my age. So I don't want to reveal it also. But yes, childhood is a wonderful, wonderful time. And anybody and everybody who is here, I mean, I have a young guest today, Kanika, who I think is, very fresh from her childhood. And then I have somebody like Susan, who probably is pretty old as far as the childhood has passed by. So childhood is something about which we all have very, very fond memories. And one common thing is that all of us have some good memories of our childhood. Because childhood is the time when we are protected. We have our parents, we have our elder siblings looking after us. Childhood is the time when there are not many expectations. Of course, a few expectations in terms of your studies, but beyond that, there's not not much that is expected out of you. Childhood is the time when you make mistakes, and those mistakes are not taken very seriously. There are people around you who are there to improvise it. So childhood is a wonderful time, and for me also, it has been the same thing. I grew up in Mumbai, in India, and in a suburb called Goregaon. And this was, now let me reveal my age, this was maybe almost 60 years back. And during those times, all those things that we used to do in childhood at that time and now what we do is a huge difference. Now if you look at children, they are most of the times watching some cartoon movie on the television or playing some video games and so on and so forth. Whereas during those times, it was all real games. So the best memories, if you ask me, are those wonderful, wonderful games, Tabletop Master, which we played. And I'm sure as I'm talking, you also are thinking of your childhood days. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Then over to you, Shihas.
Thank you, Master Sumati. So yeah, so as we have some time, right? So probably we will just go about and discuss more on the topics that we discussed a short while ago. So we had, so we can just have it as a discussion for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we will continue with our next section. Okay. So the first topic that we had today was with respect to the how about staying in Florida, and an important thing that Susan mentioned was that Florida was being taken over by Iowa. So there are a few people other than Susan here, so probably they can just share what they think. So Florida is considered as the sunshine state, as Susan was saying, and it is the place where retirees definitely want to go and spend the remaining of their life, to enjoy their life after work. And the reason, the main reason what she said was that within 1 mile, wherever you are in Florida, you have a beach. I think that's what was shared. And then she said that Iowa is taking over Florida. Iowa is basically landlocked. I don't think there are any major rivers that is flowing across, and the nearest states could be New York or Illinois, maybe. So anyone else who is there would like to debate and say that why Iowa is taking over Florida. Florida has got a lot of recreational activities place, but Iowa, I believe, it's mainly agriculture. Okay. Other people in states can correct me if I'm wrong, but apart from Susan, is there anyone else who can come and say that why Iowa is taking over Florida? Any thoughts? We have Brinda, we have Milind, we have Dee Marie, I believe Louis also from New York, and others if I missed someone. Can
This
you guys just share?
Dee Marie. This is Dee Marie. I can speak from the Florida perspective. I don't really understand the Iowa portion of it, but I can understand because of here in Tennessee, we have had an influx of people from around the country and around the world coming into Nashville. Our traffic is so, oh my goodness, you cannot get anywhere at certain times of the day. The rush hour for work, the lines of traffic are just, you have to leave home now at least 45 minutes to an hour earlier than you normally would. So when I think about that, I can understand in Florida, if everybody has decided to go south to retire, that has created a huge problem. So Iowa or some other state is definitely going to have to take the overflow. So I see it from that perspective.
That's a nice thing. Thank you, Dee Marie. Anyone else would like to share or add to that? Yes, Milan, please go ahead.
So, both Iowa and Florida are foreign states to me because I have not been in either of them. But Susan, I'm going to pass by Miami, okay, on my way back from Bahamas. And I'm going to take some tips from you as where to stay. But I think what probably Susan meant was a little, metaphoric in nature. And this is happening with so many cities. Now, for example, I live in a city called Pune in India. And I studied in a city called Bangalore, again in India. And those of you who are familiar with Pune and Bangalore, these two cities were once upon a time, about maybe 30, 40 years back, called pensioners' paradise, like what Susan just now said. These were the cities where people used to go, or rather come and settle down after they have spent a long time in their work, and then to ensure that they get some good work-life balance, they used to come and stay here. And those of you who have now been to these cities, Pune as well as Bangalore, I will tell you, a pensioner may have a severe cardiac arrest when he gets onto the roads. And this is how, the demographic changes which are happening in any country, whether it is in USA or in India or in whichever part of the world, is really changing the the earlier assumptions of a particular city. Like what Suzanne said, Florida was a place where you can come and relax and so on and so forth. Same way Pune or Bangalore. So, I mean, we need to be cognizant about this and do our very best to see to it that if at all we are moving into these cities, we are not, let's say, spoiling the basic fabric of the city, by whatever little you can do, whether it's in terms of the travel, use of public transport, for example. I don't understand why people do not use public transport when it is available. So I think these are the small things if we do. I'm sure whenever you move to a city like this, Suzanne will welcome you in Florida and not say that please don't come to Florida. back to you, Shihas.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing us insights on that. So other topic that we had was with respect to a favorite TV show that is called Shark Tank. So Shark Tank, as we all know, it originated in US, and we had Mr. Wonderful and a couple of other people. I remember Mr. Wonderful because I follow him on LinkedIn. And then there are a few others. I'm not able to recollect their names. And then it was just spun off, and we have in various countries, there are various other versions coming up. Okay. So are there any, if anyone has seen a US version Shark Tank, and if anyone has seen their country's version Shark Tank, and if they want to compare and share their thoughts, okay, do we have any volunteers for that? So what I'm asking is, like, there are various shows, reality shows that are being spun off, and then it is being it is being telecasted in the given country or a different country with a different set of rules. So anyone wants to compare what if they have seen a US based Shark Tank and let's say that an India based Shark Tank or any other country, maybe New Zealand or Singapore. I'm sure there may be various flavors flying around. Anyone wants to compare how things are, how realistic or how dramatic things are? Anyone wants to share? Yes,
I think I will. Oh, okay. Sorry. Carry on, Catherine.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Mary. I will be short so that we can share the time. I would like to mention that when I see, for example, the Shark Tank exhibitors, I've also seen some from Africa. I've also seen some from Asia. And two things come to mind. Most of them represent what is in their economies. For example, maybe a food industry entrepreneur will come in and describe their market and say, I would like to take my product to benefit the people who live in the diaspora, for example, in the US. And that is a market segment. It will catch fire. So it will probably receive more seed funding. But when I go back to Africa, for example, we have Africa where we have entrepreneurs coming up with new ideas, local ideas. When I call them local ideas, I mean ideas from the products, from the ideas, from basically their production level is at the ground level up. Okay, when I look at the products from the US, they're carrying from the second market up. When you go back to Africa, people are carrying it from down up. When you come to Asia, for example, people are bringing it from down, handmade products, handmade, directly from banana fiber, for example, directly from oil, palm oil, directly from the ground up. And that is raw in itself. It feels very authentic. It is also giving value that the product will probably have multiple product chains. So I see that there's a bit of, I'd like to describe it as very cosmetic in the US, for example, or for higher markets or higher cities. It is microwave. But when you come down to the ground level where women are making sandals from rubber, it is authentic. You know that the byproduct of that is going to produce another chain. And I feel that we're not getting the value that is required from these grassroots level entrepreneurs. That's my expression. Back to you, Toastmaster Mary Mohan. Please go ahead.
No, I will not be speaking. We are really out of time. We only have 25 minutes to end the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I kind of I lost track of time. But one good thing that I saw is there are people coming from various professions, right? And everyone has their own point of view, and everything is valid, right? If you look from their lens, so hopefully we can get a holistic picture of how things are. Yeah. So I'll now let's move ahead and we will go towards the evaluation section. This is where we get constructive feedback, where a speaker can where the speech is getting evaluated by another Toastmaster, and we get a constructive feedback, which will basically help the speaker to improve, and it will also share us some additional lessons on how we can incorporate that feedback in our speeches or in our day-to-day interaction. So I would now like to invite Toastmaster Susan to invite Toastmasters Marie's speech.
Thank you, Shihas. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially DeMarie. I must apologize, I misspoke in that your title was not leadership styles, but you wrote core values. But I didn't see that till later from your evaluation. And perhaps it was best I did not, because it would have confused the issue for me. Listening to you and watching you is a real treat. First off, you are the essence of confidence. You stood, you have a stark contrast between your clothing and the back wall. You owned the space. You were obviously confident. You maintained eye contact with us, and your voice was strong and confident, and you had that lovely smile on your face. That always warms your audience. Now, you started out with a great opening where you said, inviting the audience, do you know your leadership style? That draws the audience in immediately. And you closed with that same question. Great bookend technique to make sure that's your message. Throughout, you had words that were well-spoken, understandable, and fully supportive of your message. I saw gestures that seemed to also support your message. They were so seamless that they were almost not noticeable. They were just casual movements that enhanced, not detracted from, and I'd like to congratulate you on that. I would like to offer you a few cautionary tales. One is, after you mentioned Martin Luther King, and you were going on to tell a little bit about the story, your pace increased just a bit, and it got a little fast to hear. So be mindful. For those that do not have English as their first language, they require a slower pace. I'm from New York, and I had a hard time following. So I can imagine the others in the audience might have a challenge for the pace of it. Your vocal variety was very strong. I loved your emphasis and your passion when you talked about being authentic and sincere. And I will challenge you to do one more thing. Go back and reread your project. Your project required you to do a survey. When you said, what is my leadership style? I would guess it's democratic. If you took the survey, you would know which of those is your primary style. And then you would be able to know how that style affects others. I think you had a marvelously inspirational and moving presentation here. I'm kind of glad I didn't see the core values beforehand, because it might have muddied the waters for me even a bit more. But I want to congratulate you on such a great job, great speech, your audience awareness. Be mindful. Behind every successful man is a woman pushing that may not be the most inclusive. Look around at your audience. So just be mindful. It might be truth, but it's just not inclusive. Congratulations, DeMarie. I'll send you your written evaluation shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susan. And I'm sure like DeMarie for sure has some takeaways, but at the same time, we all have additional takeaways. Thank you all. Thank you for sharing that. So next, I would like to call upon our tag team, but I will be calling them instead of TAG, I will be calling them in GAT format so that everyone gets timed. First, I would like to call upon our grammarian for today, Toastmaster Catherine. Can you please go ahead and share your report? Toastmaster Catherine, our grammarian, can you go ahead and share your report, please? Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would like to share my screen. Is that okay? Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Thank you. So at the beginning of my presentation, I required everybody to say the word of the day because I knew that I didn't want to start counting all who haven't used it. But I haven't yet had anyone use the word of the day. Please excuse me if I didn't hear you use the word anxious. However, I would like to commend everybody who brought music to our ears using the English language. And these are the examples of some of the beautiful phrases that we heard today. Use of new words, endear them to you, was from D. Marie Shai King, our first speaker. 1,200 miles was from DTM Susan, as she was describing her Florida experience. Excuse me, I can't get that out. Toastmaster of the day used the word timeout. Kanika used necessities, and Kartik used the word pitching. Rama, we had many people use various words that were beautiful, authentic, absolutely, accomplished, phenomenal. That came from D. Marie Shai King. Susan, location. And one of the best phrases you made was frosty, freezy winters and crowded. Toastmaster of the day, multiple things, concentrate, recreational activities. DTM Melind, childhood, precious, cardiac arrest. Samanthi, privilege, survive. Kanika, inhabiting, optimum, etc. I do not know if I've written it correctly. Kartik, evolving economies and implementing. So some of the new words that I heard today for the first time, endear them to you. That was really, really, really catchy for me. And then we had rhymes, D. Marie Shai King, if and when new. Greatness in all of that. Susan, I fell in love. I can hardly wait. And then as she was giving her evaluation, listening to you and watching you is a real treat. That was a wake-up call. Toastmaster of the day, work-life balance, Toastmaster Melind, and so on and so forth. And Kanika, first and foremost. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Catherine, for such a detailed report. So next, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Brenda to share her counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shihas, for this opportunity. And I did not want to show up as anxious and tried my best to find all the R's and ums. But congratulations, Dee Marie, Susan, for, as usual, not giving me an opportunity to count any of your R's or ums. The next, I had a few people who had a few R's and ums here and there. So Karthik was one R, Kanika, more than 4 times. Sumati, the table topic master, there was just a few ya and 1 or 2. Toastmaster Millen, few R's, I think 4 plus, I's and you know. Toastmaster of the day, she has just, I think 1 I and 2 plus R's. Toastmaster Catherine, I was lucky this time, just 1 R. And that's it for now. I don't have anything else, but I tried my best. And back to you, Toastmaster Shihas.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Brenda. And I'm sure like we all will slowly work towards that goal where we will be able to follow or mimic Toastmaster Susan and Toastmaster Mary and Mary, so that we can have that I really like the way they talk, and the flow is so perfect. Okay. So next, I would like to invite our timer for the day, Toastmaster Mohan, to come up and share his report.
Yeah. First, let's go with the prepared speeches. So in the prepared speeches, D. Mary, she has taken 7 minutes, 5 seconds, well on time. Let's go with the table topics. Susan, 1 minute, 58 seconds. Karthik, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Kanika, 2 minute, 30 seconds. Milind, 2 minute, 20 seconds. Everybody is within the time. Nobody crossed the red flag. I did not time the general discussion though. Now let's go with the general evaluation. For the evaluation, Susan, she took 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Just coming to grammarian Catherine, she took 2 minutes, 45 seconds, while 3 minutes is the red flag. Accounter, Runda, you took 1 minute, you are on time. Yeah, that's all my report. I think everybody is well within the time. Thanks to each one of you, and being mindful of your time limits. Over to you, Toastmaster Shihas.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mohan. So I'd just like to conclude a few things before I hand it back to Toastmaster Catherine. So we basically talked about how we can prioritize and set a time on what we need to do. At the same time, what we really need to do to have a good work-life balance, be it at professional, personal level, or anything, is to basically reflect, refine, and respect. So we need to reflect what we are doing, and then we need to refine. When I say refine, is what I really mean is that if you figure out that, okay, I took a path A to move from point A to point B today, and if I say, okay, today there was traffic, let me try a different route tomorrow. So, and we keep on working on our issues, and then slowly we will definitely land on a path where you will see that, okay, you will be able to figure out a way which works best for you as an individual, as works for you at home, and even it works for you when you are at work. We always need to keep on evolving. We always need to make sure that we are cognizant of what is going around so that we can improve and be for this. We definitely need to have an open mindset by which we will be able to, we will have the agile mindset to basically adapt. When we talk about today's lifestyle, right, as we had Milind was comparing us with his childhood with the childhood that we are having today. Lot has changed, yes. But if we keep, as Milind was saying, that people have to keep an open mindset, and we need to keep on adapting and keep on adjusting to the new landscape. This will definitely help us be a better individual. With that, I will just conclude and hand it back to Toastmaster Catherine for her. I'll be handing it back to Milind, who would be evaluating the session in general, and post that he will hand over to Catherine for conclusion. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster Milind. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Shihas. I think let's give him a big round of applause. A wonderful topic, very, very apt, very appropriate for the kind of audience that we are. We are all professionals, and we are always trying our best to strike that good work-life balance. And Shihas, I remember last week you gave a speech and I was your evaluator. And since then, I think this, your calmness, your coolness, the way in which you come up on stage and you carry out the role that you're doing today, especially as a Toastmaster of the day. Your role was to keep the meeting going, keep it in a very motivated kind of an atmosphere, add value, but do not overpower, don't overcrowd the discussion. I don't know whether that's the right word. And you did very well. Your poise, your the way you speak, the way you conduct it, wonderful. I think this is a great role that you did today. And thank you very much for this. So, so kudos to you, Shihas. Let me come to the other role players. Sergeant at Arms, I think, where is he? Is he still around? Or he is left? I think he is Shukru.
Yeah, he dropped.
Yeah, I think he has dropped out. I think he did a wonderful job. Many times as a Sergeant at Arms, we are supposed to state the mission of a Toastmasters Club. And many times we try to talk out of our memory. And then obviously it's a pretty long Toastmasters mission, crowd mission, and we miss some words. And that is not very right. I always say that the Toastmaster Club mission is like the national anthem of our country. And we should say it properly, nicely, fluently, without any mistakes. And he did a wonderful, wonderful job. And it's okay. I am sure he would be reading it on something. I still continue reading it out whenever I take this role as a sergeant at arms. I Google, I keep the thing in front of me and I read it out verbatim. No compromises on that. That's very important. And Sukrut did a wonderful job. Toastmaster of the day, of course, I have covered. Presiding officer, Catherine, what can I say? You bring so much of energy, so much of motivation, such a wonderful way of, getting the meeting started and then, summarizing a few important business discussions and then slowly and gradually handing it over to the Toastmaster of the day. One observation, Catherine, and this is for Catherine as well as for our Toastmaster of the day. Today we had a guest. And I think we missed, getting that guest introduced or asking her to come and tell us. Kanika joined us today, and she's also a guest whom I have recommended, and that is how she's over here. So it's very important that we make our guests feel a little welcome. Otherwise, they start feeling a little alienated in the meeting. But of course, Kanika, since she knew me, probably she was not that alienated. But I think, and Shihas, sometimes the presiding officer forgets it, because she has got so many things to talk about. Then as a Toastmaster of the day, it is our job to remain vigilant. And if you see that if there is some such kind of an oversight done by the presiding officer, you can step in and you can do that kind of a role. So that's a small suggestion, not just for this meeting, for every meeting. Our counter, Vrunda, thank you very much. I think, you stepped in at the last moment, and our counter is a tricky job. It's one of the most dreadful roles in a Toastmasters meeting. Nobody likes the our counter, because our counter will invariably find out so many things that you have not done, like today, what you did. But thank you very much for stepping in at the last moment and doing it for us. Table topic master, Samanthi. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, you came all the way from New Zealand and helped us fill up this very important role in our meeting. So we truly, truly appreciate and thank you for that. And very nicely conducted. Samanthi, when we are calling a guest for a table topic, I would suggest that we should once again summarize a little about what is impromptu speaking or what is table topics all about. And also the ground rules, because, today Kanika somehow was vigilant, but I have seen sometimes guests do not know. They don't know what the timer had said at the beginning. And therefore they keep talking, because, they feel that they have to talk till the time they can talk. So those rules that they should be 2 to 3 minutes and whatever, 2 to 3 minutes, 2.5. So that, 1.5, 2, the time rules, I think is something which as a table topic master, we should definitely point out for the benefit of the guest. Otherwise, sometimes the guests, find themselves in an embarrassing situation. But otherwise, thank you very much once again for coming all the way from New Zealand and talking grammarian, our presiding officer, very, very well conducted. But Catherine, I feel that you were a little unctuous in your observations. I think there were some slip of the tongue which happened with various speakers, and we should point out. See, this is a laboratory. Toastmasters is a laboratory. We are here to come and make mistakes. Yeah, and somebody has to correct our mistakes, and then we have to move on. So, number one, as a presiding officer, you have all the right, and secondly, as a grammarian, if you feel that there is somebody who has not used a particular phrase or a word, sometimes I have seen that people in the enthusiasm to use the word of the day, use it in the wrong way. And the grammarian feels that it is not right to point out. No, then you are doing a double mistake. You are kind of teaching him a word and you are not correcting the correct usage of the word. So therefore, it is your job to tell a few things which were not done very properly, and it is perfectly fine, because we are all here to become a better version of ourselves, like what we were yesterday and what we are today. We want to become better and better, and including our English language. So call a spade a spade. This is my suggestion. What can I say about distinguished Toastmaster Suzanne as an evaluator? Fantastic. Fantastic. Very well done. And this is a very interesting point, Susan, you brought out. And this was not there. I think this is a new addition to Pathways, that when you do this leadership, your leadership style, earlier that survey business was not there. I mean, the earlier two paths when I did, I think I had this project in both my paths. And that time doing this survey was not there. And it has now been brought in. And I know that's how Toastmasters is continuously trying to improve Pathways. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Susan, you should also go and check. I will also check it, that this survey business has now come in. And it was very correct that you pointed it out to Dimari. Because, when we are doing our speech, we should be fully cognizant about what are the objectives of it. It's not a speech, it's a project, right? So a project has to have an objective, there has to be a way in which you're going to do, and there has to be a certain outcome. So that has to be very well defined. And if this is a very important point, and I'm sure Dimari, maybe even now you can do it. I mean, even now you can take that questionnaire and send it across to a few people, because it's always, feedback is the breakfast of champion. And therefore any feedback that you get about your leadership style only helps us to do better and better. So even now you can do it. But thank you, Susan, for being very watchful on this. And again, as a evaluator, you should not be anxious. You should say the right things at the right time. Timer, Mohan, VP Education, very meticulous. No comments on it. Now, I have a few observations. When as a general evaluator, there is an upside and a downside. The downside is that you have to be careful and you have to be watchful throughout the meeting. That's the downside. So you have to be absolutely vigilant. You cannot doze off. You cannot just put your video off and go and have a little walk in the balcony, nothing like that. So that's the downside. The upside is that, the timer already everybody has finished. So, even if you exceed your time, nobody is going to stop you. So give me that another 1 or 2 minutes. I'm going to be a little not anxious regarding the overall conduct of the meeting. I think this business about agenda getting done properly, Mohan, I think this needs to be tied up a little proper. Till the last minute, we were struggling with speaker, role players, this, that, and the other. In fact, we should start, I don't know who our VPP are. I think we sometimes have a very nice poster. Now today, work-life balance, there was a wonderful opportunity for a VP Public Relations to make a good poster, put it on. We are one of those clubs. Toastmasters for Professionals is a club about which I have been hearing for the last 2 years. And therefore, when I got an opportunity, when I came to San Francisco, without batting an eyelid, I decided I'm going to be a member. So that reputation of our club should be enhanced. And therefore, the Toastmaster of the day, the VP Education, the VP PR have to really work hand in hand. We should have a good poster. We should publicize it. Otherwise, how else are we going to get guests? Attrition is a part and parcel of a Toastmaster club. You are going to lose, and Suzanne is here, she will vouch for it. Worldwide statistics is that every term, almost 37% members don't renew. Then how are you going to stay where you are in terms of your size? That's only when you have more additions. And how are you going to add? You have to sell yourself. You have to publicize yourself. You have to have that public relations happening. And therefore, this whole thing has to be tied up. And I think, Mohan, let's all work on this. It's not only Mohan's job just because he's a VP Education. No. As a club, as a club, we all have taken the promise of helping the ExCom, and we will certainly help you, Mohan, in this. So, but let's work on this. That we should attendance of the meetings. Another thing I'm observing, if I'm not wrong, we have got 37 members in our club. And why are we still having only 12 and 13 and 14 members? Why are we still having this struggle of only one speech? We decided, I think it's a couple of weeks back, that by December we will complete 5 education levels. Now, how are we going to complete it? If we are going to have only one speaker coming everywhere in a meeting, how are we going to complete those education levels? So as a VP Education, make a map of who is where and start calling. When you call, people will start accepting it. Let me tell you that. People need to be pushed a little. I think we are all professionals. We have all spent a lot of time in our executive journey. Follow-up is important. A little bit of a pushing is important. And as a VP Education, you should do that, Mohan. Yeah? Because I think we should have at least 2 speeches. every meeting. I think these were the few observations. Sorry, I know I went ahead of the exceeded time, but I thought that we should we should in this room, we are all a family here together, and if there are certain things which we can do a little better, why not? Thank you very much for this opportunity, and back to you, Presiding Officer Catherine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, DTM Meline. We really, really, really appreciate every part of the evaluation you've given us. We are going to take it seriously. We really, really appreciate. I feel that the value you've added to us and to this meeting is really, really important. I do believe that each of the members here have also seen some of these things that you have raised, and we are definitely going to step up. But thank you once again. And for using the word of the day, I now step into my grammarian hat. I've not had somebody use the word of the day like Toastmaster Melinda has today. So thank you. Thank you for waking us up in that area and for helping us apply the lessons learned. So Toastmasters and guests, I would like you to take a moment to thank our Toastmaster of the day with a round of applause once again. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shihas. And I would like to give a round of applause to our guests, Kanika Gupta. Thank you for joining us. Louisu, thank you for joining us. Jane Lazare, thank you for joining us. And who else have I forgotten? I would like to hear from your voices. If you can let us know how you felt this meeting was. Toastmaster Brunda, I call you Toastmaster Brunda, the accountant. You have been such a valuable member at this meeting. Thank you so much for all your contributions and for being ready to serve. Toastmaster Samanthi, I cannot thank you enough. Toastmasters and guests, this was the first person to enter the meeting room today. Toastmaster Samanthi was so switched on. I use the word switched on, that she was ready to serve today. So thank you for taking the time to share your time with us. Can I just hear from Kanika? Would you like to tell us what your view is about the meeting today? And would you like to come back and visit or become a member?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of Mr. Milind only, I got this privilege to join today's meet, and yeah, I would make my level best tries to in order to attend my further meetings with you guys. And it's my second meet, and thanks to Mr. Shihas, because he told me many things about this meet and all. So today, yeah, I learned many things, and I will try to learn more and more for my future deeds. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster. Thank you so much, Kanik, guest. Louisu, are you there? And Ritu Ghosh, I think we lost Ritu Ghosh. She was also in the meeting. And I think we've also lost Jen Lazay.
I'm here.
Lizu, did you like the meeting today?
Yes, absolutely. The meeting today is very useful to me personally. Well, I have no work-life balance. Thank you, Shihas, for sharing lots of information about also everyone else who's sharing their style of work-life balance. I really appreciate it. And then I hope one day I'll develop one of my own. Thank you very much.
Izu, thank you so much. And we encourage you to come join us and become a member. You grow just like we are growing. I think you feel the love from the family of Toastmasters for Professionals. I'd like to ask our officers, the few officers who are around, please stay behind after this meeting, and let's discuss some very important things. And I would like to officially adjourn this meeting. So thank you, Toastmasters and guests, for coming. I will now stop the recording.
Madam President, we did not give Samanthi an opportunity to speak.
Yep,
Thank you so
Of
much.
the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that correction, Toastmaster Susan, DTM Susan. Toastmaster Samanthi, you have the floor. Please let us know. How did you feel?
The meeting is great. I need to share something else with you. When I initially selected this Toastmaster from the list of Toastmasters on the website, I selected this because I could attend this thinking that this will happen on Tuesday afternoon. Because of the time difference, I couldn't grasp it at that time, but later on I realized that this happens on every Wednesday, 1:30 my time, but I have a lecture during that time until November. So I will be able to attend next meeting in November, just after my thing, but I would definitely become a member because it's very good.
Toastmasters and guests, you're not clapping. Can we hear some vuvuzelas? Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Aren't you glad we
Toastmaster.
gave her the floor? Aren't you glad we gave her the
Yes.
floor?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You are most welcome. We're going to take that up. Toastmaster Shihas will be with you in a few minutes and will guide you on how to run through your membership. And then we'll get you immediately somebody to work with as a mentor. So thank you so much. I hope I have not left anyone else behind.
Yeah, no, Samanthi, you already are a Toastmaster, right? In New
Yeah,
Zealand.
I'm already a Toastmaster of another club, which is a physical. We are meeting in an office room.
So New Zealand is a district by itself, or
District 72.
Okay.
so that's New Zealand.
Yeah.
Complete all of New Zealand.
I don't know how many districts are there. My club belongs to District 72.
Okay. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Samanthi.
Tanika had her hand up. Did she have her hand raised?
So you can make it to the meeting?
Yeah.
Can't see her. Are you there?
Kanika, you wanted to say
Kanika?
something?
No, sir, my hand is not raised.
Okay. She had raised her hand to clap, I think.
Maybe.
Kanika, Kanika, you got a good feel of the meeting. Kanika, for your information, she's a student from a very reputed engineering college in India.
Oh, wow.
And she has aspirations to, grow further beyond her engineering to do a master's in business administration. And so I told her that, beyond a point, technical skills, work-related skills are important, but communication skills are also very important. And this is a place where you learn to communicate, Kanika. So, and this is an investment. So as I told you the other day, talk to your mother and, get connected with Shihas. And once you are a member, Kanika, you can go to any club. Okay. It's not that you can only be, suppose tomorrow you are, I know you are, you study in Jammu, but you are right now in Jaipur, right?
Yeah.
Kanika? Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Jaipur also there are clubs. So become a member here, but then you can always go to any other club in Jaipur also physically. Once you are a Toastmaster, you are a Toastmaster all over the world.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely join as a member. I had a talk with my mother and she's agreed.
Very
And
good.
I'm very happy for this to join you guys.
Very good. Very good.
It's a great club.
Thank you so much, Kanika. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Shihas will be with you in a while to help you start your path and get a mentor. So I will now stop the recording for now.
Susan, now we do not